got to heaven. He's a mighty good leader all the way. That's right. I don't know the words. I don't care. Singing them anyway. Guten Morgen. Afternoon. Today is the Sabbath for some of us. Trying to keep it holy. Hope y'all are doing the same. Woo! Today was nice. Good sermon about compassion today at the Vineyard. And, which, in case you didn't know, compassion comes from two words, meaning with, and passion, compassion, passion. And passion means suffer, to suffer. Not commonly thought as just as like heat and lust, as maybe we often use it now. But, so compassion actually means to suffer with. And we are compelled, rather I am compelled as a follower of Christ to have compassion for all. Because A, because I'm told to, and B, because I am kind of the same as all. Like, no matter our outward circumstances, no matter our seeming temporal condition, that the conditions of our souls are all in the same state of disrepair without God's saving grace. And from that state of mind, to try to see truth for what truth is, but then to see people for how God designed them to be, or how He could use them to be, has actually been a fueling grace for my own sense of love for others throughout my life, pretty much forever. I mean, all my sense of loving kind of comes from that, the fact that I'm commanded to do so, and it's definitely against my nature in many ways. I guess a lot of people who know me now might not even know how, my basic nature is kind of misanthropic and really delights in criticism and the negative, and but that God has kind of led me away by the hand sometimes, by the nose sometimes, perhaps sometimes by the ear, away from that understanding and to His own understanding that really the only superior being around here is the one supreme being, and He can do superior works through us, can enact His love through us, and help us to love others and guide us to harmony within ourselves. But that His love through us is really the only true love. It's the only kind of perfect love that we can manifest on this earth. But how wonderful is that to be able to be part of that perfect love, that righteous love, that love that brooks no untruth, and takes such pleasure in our pleasure, and suffers along with our suffering. What? That's delightful. But today's devotion, and also today in church, and this doesn't happen all the time in church for those who don't go, but this past week in general, I've really been feeling the presence of God, and it's been phenomenal. Really enjoy that. Kudos to God. More of that, please. Because this week's definitely been a challenge to my sense of self and all the bulwarks I've built up to fortify myself in this life that make me self-sufficient. And I'm trying to live on His sufficiency and glorify Him by being His, being a servant, instead of trying to be my own master or co-master or whatever. And He's let His presence be known to me physically in ways that I have very rarely felt in my life. And it happened again today when I was singing, and I just got flooded with heat, throughout my body. Got super sweaty. I was singing, and I was singing, it's funny too, because I was singing a song, we don't really sing old school hymns or whatever, but there was an old school hymn. What was that hymn called again, Ma? How Great Thou Art. How great Thou Art. It's one of those, it can be a little staid to my ear, and I was definitely how do I sing this? And they kind of folk rocked it up a little bit, for worship at one point in the song. But it still was didn't really make any sense, but I was still well, none of this matters. It's not I don't choose the vehicle by which I worship God, and by which I am called to do His duty, so this is the same dang thing. I don't don't choose his truth either. You know what I mean? His truth is truth. And so I was like just trying to sing and do it and sing it to him and mean the words, whether or not I felt the song or not. And then he just, for whatever reason, just flooded into me. I don't know, and it was powerful. And so I was kind of like tearing up and just singing my face off, and just, yeah, it was like soaked with sweat. It was all glistening and drippy and stuff afterwards. Probably kind of gross visually, but and then today when I got home, I kind of tended to do my devotions after, just because I'm like, oh, maybe some cool stuff will come up in the sermon today or in interactions with people. And it's the Sabbath, so I want to make sure it's extra holy and focused. So I usually come home and do my devotion after the church gathering. And then this one was about the consciousness of the call. And just talking about kind of like that there is, that God is supernatural, obviously. I mean, if we're talking about a deity here who created the universe, who created all things, who put all these little delightful little symmetries of life together, and has all these artistic patterns he used over and over again. I was just reading today about all these fruits that like look like the things that they help, like avocado is actually is good for the womb, and figs, no joke, are good for the testes. Not joking. And and let alone getting into the whole golden triangle or whatever. But this is a supreme deity who created the whole universe, and he works. He, she, it, whatever. I don't know if you want to put a gender on them. They use he in the Bible, but whatever. It's a spirit. It's whatever. I don't know. Whatever. That's a whole another sidetrack, isn't it? And it really doesn't matter. Really doesn't matter. But he works in not necessarily mysterious ways, works in very human ways, but the ways in which God has touched my life, when he's touched my life, have been heat for some reason is always involved, but they're just like powerful. It's powerful and spiritual, and it's an otherworldly sensation. And there are other things out there in the supernatural dimension, I fully believe that, that can touch you in very similar supernatural ways. So hopefully I'm not being touched by the devil. I'm assuming it's not, because thus far it has yielded fruits of love throughout my life. But he's here, and so I've just been thanking him for that. So that's what today's thing is really, just all this rambling is for thank you. Thank you, Lord, for being here and touching me, literally. And he's touched me a bunch of times. I've been healed twice in my life from diseases that medical science was not having any luck with. And he's done that twice of relatively rare diseases. I had Kawasaki disease, and my mother prayed over me, and God told her that I was going to be healed, and I was. And I had ulcerative colitis later on, and I was probably going to have my colon removed and wear a bag, a little sack that would fill up with my refuse, and I'd be happy to die rather than have that sack, I'll tell you that much. And he healed me then, and that was powerful. And he's touched me a number of times. I don't know if he touched me specifically, because I was and am such a questioning person and a skeptic and a but yes, but interesting, sir, but indeed may I raise this point, or just that's just how he works. But I'm hoping it means he's got great things for me, or maybe he's already do the things and I could die tomorrow and it's already done. But I just want to do his will, and I'm so glad he's been touching me throughout all this stuff that's not even joyous, but he's been filling my life with joy. So thanks, God. That's almost my 10 minutes. Thanks. I hope you guys reach out, feel the touch. I dare ya. Ooh, yeah.